Welcome to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison.
I'm Molly, a former skeptic turned full-time energy healer and teacher.
And I'm Madison, a born and raised witch running my family's crystal shop.
And we're here to explore all things woo through the lens of both science and spirituality so that you can find the moments of magic in your everyday life and create an intentional spiritual practice.
So if that's what you're into, find a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's demystify some magic.
Howdy doody, friends.
Howdy doody.
How's it going over there, Madison?
It's hot. My AC's been out for a week. And so I wouldn't talk about this other than to just let you all know that this is how much I love and care for this podcast, is that I haven't been working from home, obviously, because it's upwards of 90 degrees in my apartment. But I'm sitting here in the dark, all the shades drawn, fans full blast. I mean, it looks like a cave. Because of how much I love and enjoy making this podcast. But if I get progressively angrier through this episode, just know that it's not you.
No.
It's my sweat.
It's your sweat.
How are you?
I'm doing great. What a great day to talk about the summer solstice.
I know. You know what? The universe really just was priming me to really get in the spirit of midsummer.
It was like, how can we make Madison as sweaty as possible? Which, honestly, I mean, I know you live in Florida, so it's not the same, but this is how my office is for 3 months of the year because I don't have air conditioning in my office.
The fact that you can survive without having air conditioning tells me that we are not the same.
It's a 100-year-old house, second floor.
We are not the same.
But I only have to deal with it for 3 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not even that bad.
These past 6 days have been 3 months of my emotional life.
Oh, boy. Well, this is our second summer solstice episode. We did one a whole year ago, which is bonkers. And so we thought this year...
Season 2, if you will.
Season 2. We would, instead of kind of going over the energy of the summer season, we'd touch on that a little bit, but mostly just give you some low-effort ritual ideas. So if you are wanting to celebrate the summer season, invite the summer solstice energy in, you can do that. If you're looking for more of a recap of kind of the energetic, forecast of the solstice, you can go back to that episode. The good news about podcasts is they're evergreen, so it's not going anywhere. And for those of you in the southern hemisphere, we have episodes for the winter solstice, so you can go listen to those.
We have got something for everyone.
Something for everyone. You get a podcast episode, and you get a podcast episode, and you, and you, and you.
I'm really excited to keep doing these from the perspective of I can't wait to see how our practices and recommendations change over the years of what was I doing for the summer solstice in 2024? I don't know. I get to go back and listen to it.
I know. Well, one thing is not changing, and that is our annual summer solstice traditions, which is I will be doing a summer solstice Reiki ceremony online, and you will be putting out your limited edition summer solstice spell candles. So if you want to grab a ticket to the event or grab a spell candle for your summer solstice celebrations, we will leave all of the details of that in the description of this episode. So wherever you're listening, just scroll down, join us. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I always love these Reiki ceremonies, and I especially love lighting my summer solstice candle while you do the ceremony. It's the vibe is set.
When we did the winter one, I was like, okay, now everyone hold up your spell candle. It was half the room had your candle. So, it is a fun time. If you can't join us live, there is a replay. And if you buy the summer solstice candle, you don't have to just use it on the summer solstice. You can use it through the whole summer or anytime you need a little blitz of summery energy.
Yeah, I keep one of each. I have one for each solstice and equinox, and I keep them just for whenever I want to channel the energy of that time. I stockpile 6 winter solstice candles. And I need this cozy energy all year long.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I know the person who makes them, and she can hook you up, so you don't have to hoard them.
That's true. But if I'm already making them, then I might as well just make extras. And it's because it's so much easier to make a lot of candles than to make like one candle.
If anyone's upset that the winter solstice candles sold out so quickly, you can just blame Madison for hoarding a bunch of them.
Just DM me. I'll make you one.
Anyways, Madison, what was your magic moment of the week?
I'm cheating a little bit because my magic moment is from a couple weeks ago. But it's been like a recurring theme. It started a few weeks ago.
Okay.
But I had my first reading day at Spellcrafter a few weeks ago.
Yay.
And it was so much fun. And it really felt like a culmination of like, it was just a really magical weekend because literally I had my first reading day and then you were here the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some readings before our event. And then I even had some virtual readings through the week. And it just was like so nice to get back into it.
Yay.
And like I have never read in a shop, like in that very traditional reading environment. When I read professionally a few years ago, I did everything virtually.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was such like a new fun experience to do it in person. And it's like unlocked something in me. It's like the key is turned in my brain of like, oh, there are so many fun learning experiences through readings.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned so much about myself through having this other avenue of kind of doing something different. And even like doing the reading for our event, that was also such a new experience of like, first of all, like not only doing a collective reading, but doing it with like 20 people in the room.
Yeah.
And getting to be like, oh, here's what I'll do differently next time. And not making it mean something about myself. I like recognized real growth over that weekend.
Yeah.
Not only like as a reader, but as like a person.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you listened, that was a few weeks ago, that episode, you'll notice that I'm going in 14 different directions at once. I really think that when we did that, I like got all at once messages for every single person in that room. And had to get them all out, like, in succession.
Yeah.
Which was both really fun and really overwhelming. So go back and listen to it if you haven't. And, like, see if you can, like, hear what I'm talking about. Because in the moment, I was like, oh, God, none of this is making sense. And then I look up and, like, every single person, like, I feel like I made eye contact with everybody individually at a different time. And it was like everyone was taking turns, like, looking at me wide-eyed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is what's happening. Okay, I understand. This is not supposed to be cohesive. And we're just going to ride the chaos. And I've just had fun riding the chaos. And that kind of has continued of like, okay, here's how I'm going to do this in a different way, in a way that I haven't done before. And embracing the unexpected.
Yeah, I love that.
What was your magic moment?
I had a bunch of magic moments this weekend, but I think the one that I'm going to share is the one that people have been asking me about because I mentioned it on the podcast a couple months ago. But it's about Hercules, my sweet little baby dog. I can't remember what episode it was earlier in the year, but Hercules has had some issues with dog reactivity. He attacked a dog in January, got off his leash. It was a very scary experience. Ended up with a police report, had to go to court. Went back to court last week, and he does not have to go to jail. Neither do I.
Great.
Great.
Most importantly, Hercules does not have to go to jail.
He does not have to. He would not survive in jail. There are no soft blankets in jail. But yeah, it ended up being fine. They dropped one of the charges, and then we pled to the dog at large charge, which is basically like he was off his leash, paid a fine, and that was it. Everything's hunky-dory. Hercules is still in training. He's doing really, really well. He's never going to be like a dog park dog. He's never going to be like a let loose with other dogs. But he is getting more comfortable with strange dogs. We've been doing a lot of work with his trainer around like going on parallel walks with other dogs and letting him sniff dog butts. And we introduced him to my in-laws' dog and he didn't attack her. And so it's definitely something we're still like cautious of, but feeling really, really good about his progress, feeling really, really good that like, you know, the court situation ended up okay. I was like a nervous wreck because I was so worried like they were going to rehome him or take him away or put him down or whatever. And it just ended up being a a fine, which is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
well, I was like, I will pay whatever if you let me keep my dog. It was like $1 million, take it. Put me in debt for the rest of my life because I just love that dog so much. So I wanted to share that was my magic moment, and I wanted to share that update because I've gotten a lot of DMs from people asking how he was doing and asking if there's any updates. And thank you so much for caring about Herc. He really is like my soulmate dog, and he's definitely like a problem child and very high maintenance, but I think that's why he's in my life, because I have the capacity to maintain him.
Mm-hmm. I just have to say, you have done so much for this dog, and even like you were doing everything right. It was very much like a tragic set of circumstances. Like he wriggled out of his leash. Like it wasn't even that he was like, you were being a responsible dog owner when it happened.
He was in training. It was like, I know when I talked about it before, a lot of people have reactive dogs who listen to this and are resonating with his story. What we found helped is we're doing only positive reinforcement training. We were doing like the training with the like choke collar before, and that was when he really escalated and got out of his, you know, slip collar and attacked the dog. And what his vet thinks is that because he has such severe anxiety, that type of training just did not work for him. And that's why the positive reinforcement is working so much better for him, because ultimately, like, dog anxiety and human anxiety is the same. He just thinks that dog across the street is a tiger about to attack him and his brother and his mom, and he wants to protect him, and the fight response is all he knows. And so, yeah, I think he's responding so much better to that, just like gentle, positive. He's also on Prozac, which, you know, like doggy, like mom. And that's been helping him too. So yeah, he's a good boy. He's asleep under my feet right now.
Herc is such an excellent metaphor for us all, you know? We don't need to use the choke collar with ourselves.
No.
Positive reinforcement only, summer 2024.
I agree. I like that. That should be, ooh, what a cool analogy you just crafted.
Thank you. I try.
Because it's true. Like when you have anxiety, you think there's a tiger chasing you.
And you shame yourself.
Introducing more stress, more guilt, more shame makes it worse, makes the tiger bigger. And then you escalate and you bite a dog.
Mm-hmm. And then you go to court.
Get in trouble for it. Yeah.
It happens to everyone.
And your mom loses a cuticle. And, you know.
I can't believe that was in January. Getting that, that was the voice note of all voice notes.
Yeah.
That was a rough day.
It was really rough. It was so rough. The other dog is fine, by the way. All the dogs are fine. I bled the most because I had to put my hands in his mouth to detach them. So everyone is fine. That's why I'm like sort of nonchalant about it, because it's really just been, I've been the most stressed about it.
All right. Should we jump into our summer solstice rituals?
Positive reinforcement summer solstice 2024. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I feel like that should just be the main one. Like, okay.
That should be the main
Bye.
one.
The episode's over. We did it. Be nice.
Okay, here's the thing. Let me geek out on this tangent for a moment. Let me circle us back to like the summer season and the energy of summer.
Let's circle
it, and why I think this is such a powerful mantra. What did my accent just do?
I don't know.
I have to tell you. Okay, this is an aside, but people always ask me where my accent is from. And I'm born and raised in Maine, right? My mom has a slight New York accent, depending on how much she's had to drink. But I did a theater play like 5 years ago where I had to play someone from Minnesota, and I watched Fargo so many times that to get the accent right, that now it slips in every once in a while when I say my A's.
That's so funny. Dedicated to her art. So, you could never tell her she's not dedicated to her art.
Okay, energy of summer. So summer, at least through the lens of traditional Chinese medicine, which is how I kind of conceptualize the seasons energetically, is this very yang energy. It's the most yang, which means it's the most active, most outward focused, most action based, very much like the energy of harder, better, stronger, faster, you know, like the doing rather than the being, rather than the resting, rather than the quiet. It's hot. It's fiery. It's get up and go kind of energy. And so when we think about the summer season, we want to kind of lean into that a little bit, right? We've come out of winter. We've come out of hibernation. We've come through spring where we're sort of like poking through the soil, getting our petals all, unraveled. And now we're in full bloom. So now is the time to go after the things that you want. Now is the time to go after the goals that you have. Now is the time to make that vision board and fucking take action on it. And at the same time, you don't want to burn out too hot and too fast. So some of these rituals are going to be helping you leaning into that energy. And some of them are going to be a little bit of like bringing balance to that, right? Because if we're go, 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 go all day, we need a little bit of rest to bring balance. Otherwise, we're going to burn too hot and too fast, and we won't have the momentum or the energy to last the entire season. So positive reinforcement summer, I love that, because then it's like, I feel like positive reinforcement is like, what do I need right now to feel better? Mm-hmm. Right? What do I need to reinforce this good feeling? And if you feel like just going to the beach, laying down and reading smut all day, don't shame yourself for not doing your to-do list, right? Give yourself that positive reinforcement of like, hell yeah, I rested in a way that aligned with the summer season. I gave myself some rest in the midst of the go, go, go. Love that for you.
Yeah, and I think that there's like this common misconception with the energy of summertime of like, oh, if I'm coming into full bloom, that means that I should be productive all of the time. And I think that that is really to our detriment, where really it's like an excess of energy, which doesn't just translate to getting more work done. It's
right.
Like I have talked about my reading slump on the podcast. I have more energy to read. I have more energy to create. I have more energy to see my friends.
To play. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's like that outward energy doesn't have to be funneled into productivity like capitalism would tell us. It could be funneled into play, like coming out of your shell and like going to a barbecue, coming out of your shell and like trying a new recipe, like coming out of your shell and calling your friend you haven't talked to in a couple months, right? Like coming out of your shell and creating a new routine for your morning or whatever, right? It's really this kind of like the visual that keeps coming through to me is like when a baby chick cracks out of its shell, it's like it's been banging its beak on the shell for so long that it finally cracks through. And it's like it needs to bang its beak because that's what makes the beak strong enough for the bird to survive. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
But yeah, that's why you don't want to help a bird come out of its shell, because the banging of the beak is what strengthens the beak. So otherwise it won't survive if you just crack the shell for it.
Wow. Another excellent animal metaphor.
So imagine you've been banging your beak, like especially if you felt like, I've been talking to a lot of people and I've felt this too, it's just like this rut energy for the last couple of weeks where it's just felt like I get momentum and then I lose it, or I get motivation and then I lose it, or I'm sleeping well and then I'm not, or whatever, having a hard time keeping up on things. And I feel like that's us banging our beaks on the shell. And now summer is this time where we finally break through. The last thing I want to do is go to a wall and bang my beak on it, right? Like our beaks are strong so that they can help us in all areas of our life. I am losing the analogy really quickly, but I hope you can see that like you've put in the effort and now you are allowed to also find rest and joy and happiness outside of productivity.
Mm-hmm. You didn't spend all that time working banging your beak just to be really good at banging your beak. That sounds...
I want a t-shirt that says, I banged my beak at Demystify Magic and all I got was this stupid t-shirt.
This is what I spent all that time banging my beak for. Oh, God. Anyways.
So yeah, stop banging your beak. Give yourself permission to give your beak a rest.
Rest that beak, summer 2024.
Anyways, here's some ideas of how you can rest your beak and also take advantage of this summer energy. The first one, go outside.
Real simple. Plain and simple.
Real simple.
Put your feet on the dirt.
Yeah, and I was thinking of this today. So, if you follow me on Instagram, or if you listen to this podcast, I'm in a big reading kick. I read 20 books in May.
That is truly unhinged to me.
That's unhinged.
And you know what? A true testament.
When I was in...
Sorry. A true testament to that you can get a lot done without being productive all the time. Because you worked your ass off in May too.
I did. I mean, I had a week off, so I read a book a day while I was in Florida, but
still, that's 13 other books.
I know. Anyways, and so something I was thinking about today is yesterday I bought a lawn chair at Home Depot, and I'm just going to, for the summer solstice, I'm just going to take my Kindle outside. Right? This is what we mean, this balance of like, okay, we have that outside energy, that summer energy, but that doesn't mean we have to do more. It's just how can you take what you're doing now and add new energy to it?
Mm-hmm. So next on our list, if you enjoy doing candle magic, maybe swapping out your base candles for a yellow or an orange candle to, no matter what kind of spell work you're doing, kind of infuse that high energy, that excitement, that passion into anything that you're doing. So even if you're doing like an abundance spell, use all of the same herbs or the same sigils, but swap it for a yellow candle.
Yeah, because the energy of summer is very much like shit is happening. Mm-hmm. Shit is happening fast. Like we are blooming, baby. Yes. So that's perfect. Yeah, and we have a whole episode on candle magic. So if you're like, how do I do that? Definitely cue that one up for next because it's a good one. Mm-hmm. Next is to refresh your altar. So I really need to do this because in Maine right now, it's that time of year where, do you get pollen down in Florida?
Oh, yeah. Do we get pollen?
Yeah. Do we get pollen?
The other day, wait, sorry, this is such a tangent. I had to get my car serviced, whatever. So I was driving my mom's car and I walked outside. It was like dewy in the morning because I was up early, not to brag. And I walk out and my mom's car has like a sunroof that goes over the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It was so orange, I thought something was wrong with the car. Like, the water had washed the pollen off of everything except for the very top, and it looked like an oil slick. It was terrifying. I went to touch it, and I was like, oh, that's pollen. So yes, gross. We get pollen.
Anyways, I always think of pollen as stagnant energy because that's how I conceptualize like energy in a space, is like how pollen will settle on things, energy settles on things, and my altar has some pollen on it. So it could be as simple as just giving it a wipe down, maybe switching out the crystals, maybe switching out the candle, refreshing your money bowl, like whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe bringing in some springy or summery. What season are we in?
Not spring.
Not spring.
Can confirm not spring.
Bring in some summer plants or nature elements from the summer. Like I really like dandelions because my lawn is full of them, and they're really great for manifestation and wishes. So they're great to have as like a little offering on your altar or even throughout your space, like plucking them in a little vase or whatever, to bring that light back in, that yellow energy, that summertime energy. But a little refresh of your altar is always a good thing to do.
And if you're a crystal person, this would be an excellent time to like put some of those more like a sunstone or any kind of orange or yellow crystals on your altar, or just carry them around with you.
Orange calcite, citrine, sunstone. What are some other orange and yellow crystals?
You could also do red, like a red jasper or a carnelian.
Pyrite.
Which is not red or yellow or orange, but sure. Yeah.
It's gold. Gold and yellow are the same. One is shinier.
To me, pyrite is gray. Am I colorblind?
Oh my God. It's literally called fool's gold.
Yeah, and I've always been like, well, for real fools. It looks nothing like gold.
You actually might be colorblind.
What color is pyrite into Google? Okay. I will say that the internet pulls up both yellow and gray.
Okay, it depends on the piece. I'm talking like a gold pyrite piece, like a high quality cubic formation.
I just feel like I've never seen a pyrite and been like, yeah, that's gold to me. I believe you.
What?
I do think I'm the problem here.
I'm going to be sending you pictures immediately after we wrap.
I feel embarrassment in this moment because like I do have 2 whole ass crystal shops. I
feel real confusion because you have some really nice gold pyrite pieces in Spellcrafter.
That's in my head. I'm like, I have nice, really beautiful pyrite, and it's all great to me. But these pictures on Google
bestie.
Some of them look kind of gold, but I'm like, this feels enhanced. Like,
no, it's like, I don't even know what to say to this.
I'm having a real moment. Am I colorblind?
I need you to go.
Am I experiencing color blindness?
I think it's the heat is getting to you.
The heat is melting my brain. Okay, sure, pyrite.
I wish y'all could see Madison right now because I love you so much, and I think you're the most beautiful human on Zoom right now. But every 5 minutes, your face gets more and more red.
I know.
So how
Hair
hot you are.
Back. I look like, what's his name from VeggieTales? The tomato character. My Google search history after this is going to be something else.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Tomato
Anyways,
VeggieTales.
grab that pyrite. If you see pyrite as gold.
It's Bob the tomato. And I have a picture of him up right now. I look just the fuck like him.
You really do.
Eyes wide.
Just looked him up.
Hair slicked back. Wait, look at him. He has a beret on in this picture. Cute. Veggiepedia.
The thing that comes up is an article called "How a Talking Tomato Saved a Life."
That is actually somebody writing about this podcast.
And then underneath it is Bob the Tomato a cannibal.
I'm looking at Reddit where it says Bob the Tomato shouldn't be in VeggieTales. He's not a vegetable.
Tomatoes are a great summer vegetable. So if you want to align with the energy of summer,
yes.
You could eat some tomatoes.
Slice me right up.
Whatever is in season where you are. Some nice cooling. I've been on a big watermelon kick lately. I've been on a big, not just watermelon, but I'm also hyperfixated on watermelon mint tea.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. I bought some at Disney World, and then I was like, I can't live without this. And so now I had to find other places that sold it. And so I've got a whole shelf of them. So if you want a review on watermelon mint tea, let me know.
Mm-hmm. I love an orange in the summertime. I don't think that they're actually like a summer fruit. I think those might be a winter citrus. I'm not sure.
They're Florida citrus.
Yeah,
so I guess like, you know what I learned while I was in Florida? I learned that there is like a disease wiping out the Floridian oranges.
No!
Have you heard that?
No.
That's why orange juice is so expensive right now.
I'm so sorry.
This could be a rumor.
We're riddled with tangents today.
I did not hear it from a reputable source, but I did hear it from someone who lives in Florida. What would you
call a reputable source on Florida oranges?
Someone who's not a doomsday prepper.
Yeah, that'll do it. No! Citrus screening, also known as, I'm not even going to pretend to try to know how to pronounce that, but it's shortened to HLB, is a bacterial infection that has been affecting Florida's citrus groves since 1998 and is considered one of the most serious citrus diseases in the world.
Yeah, they might all be wiped out eventually. They're trying to make a new plant.
The disease is spread by tiny bugs, which are about the size of a chili flake. The bugs fly from tree to tree, sucking the nutrients and infecting the trees. That is so sad. And there is no cure.
No cure. They're trying to breed a new species of orange tree that is immune to it.
Wow.
Allegedly. Anyways, oranges are really great for whatever spells you're working on. Any simmer pot in the summer solstice season, throw some orange in. Dried orange peel for your spell jars. Using orange in your cooking, whether it's, oranges, orange juice, orange chicken, using that flavoring.
There's a bakery by my house that has orange cake right now, and that is what made me think of how much I love having oranges in the summertime.
Oh, you know what? Okay, here's a hot spell tip. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
If you are someone who wants an aromatherapy experience in your shower, like you want some bright summer energy, eat an orange
in the shower.
Peel it and drop the peels on the floor of your shower and let the steam do its thing. First of all, I hate peeling oranges because I feel like my fingers get gross. I have like one of those plastic tools to open them because my mom was a Tupperware lady growing up.
Wow.
So I have a fancy tool. But when I don't have that tool, I peel my oranges in the shower.
I almost exclusively buy cuties for this exact reason because they're so much
Mhm.
easier to peel.
I like the sumo oranges that have the big nubbin, and you can just twist and pull the nubbin.
This episode is filled with innuendo.
Anyways, the next one on our list is to create a summertime playlist. And hot take, song of the summer, at least for this podcast right now, is still Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. At least on my end.
It's never ending.
Never ending. That's just me, Espresso.
I'm working late because I'm a singer. We still intermittently text each other. I don't remember if we've talked about this, but we do this really fun bit where we text each other with like intensity. We'll be like, bestie, and then let it sit for a couple beats. I'm working late because I'm a singer.
Or I'll voice memo and I'll be like, Bestie, I have a really important announcement to make. I need you to stop what you're doing. Anyway, making a summer playlist of your summer jams of 2024. This could be whatever summer jams you are jamming on, and then let that be your theme song. So play it while you're in the shower, play it while you're driving around with the windows down, play it while you're doing your yard work or whatever you're doing at the beach, and just let it be the soundtrack of the summer. I really love to do this on Spotify. All of my playlists are labeled by the season and the year.
Wow.
So if I want to go back to feeling what I felt in summer 2016, I can do that. And it's like a time portal.
That is so smart because so I try to be a person that like makes playlists for like specific moods, but then they just always become an amalgamation of whatever I'm really into at the time. Yeah. And so I associate the name of the playlist with what it actually is, which is like, you know, all my favorite songs from like a very specific 6-week span. Yeah. But like I should go back and relabel them.
Yeah. 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 So like, and it's fun because I really like the DJ feature on Spotify. So every once in a while he's like, coming up, some hits you were listening to this time of year in 2016. I'm like, oh, we're going through a Nick Jonas phase right now. I remember that summer.
Yes.
So yeah, that can be a really, really fun way. It's like, I think of it as like an emotional time capsule of the things that you're really resonating with, because then I really like to go back and see the growth emotionally. And sometimes I have a hard time of like remembering like how I was feeling. But when I have that time capsule of songs, next year I can go back and listen to it and be like, oh, wow, I remember when I had this one sad song on my playlist and really felt down about X, Y, and Z. And now like I see this song in a whole new light and therefore see this experience in a whole new light. So just a really fun one to capture the moment.
Mm-hmm. And a fun place to take your summer playlist with you. This is more so an idea for what I like to do on the day of the summer solstice because it's the longest day of the year. I really like to watch the sunset, especially because I am a winter girly. I do not thrive in the summertime. It is not, as you can tell by the state of my face, in this hot apartment. I was not made for heat.
Yeah, same.
My Irish blood is like, girl, get to the north. But I like to watch the sunset and have a quiet moment of like, and now the days are getting shorter again. Like I've reached the peak of what this is going to be. I've reached the peak of the heat and the long and the beating sun, especially like the Floridians listening. Like, you know, it is brutal this year. You know, and it keeps getting more and more. Like I said this last year, I felt like last year was like the hottest summer I was going to be able to take. And then this summer, like every day we're breaking records of
as an honorary Floridian living in Maine. I have to agree. It was the most humid I've ever experienced Florida. And we went in mid-May specifically to avoid the heat and humidity. And I was like, I remember like, so my dad has like a back porch, like a screened in porch. And like with this pool, and then it overlooks a cow pasture. And so when I'm there, I like to take my coffee out onto the porch and watch the cows in like the peaceful quiet. And I remember the first day I got there, I had my coffee. It was like 7 a.m. I walked outside and I was like, no. It was like walking into a bath.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. I remember I left the house like early. Drew and I go to the gym at like 7 a.m. We left the house. It was like 82 when we left. And we were like, it's nice outside this morning.
I will say, though, an honorary magic moment, the one day that it wasn't super, super humid and super, super hot was the day Justin and I went to Magic Kingdom. Ooh. It was like partly cloudy, low humidity, low 80s. It was flawless. I was like, yes.
And I think that's like part of that is why I love to watch the sunset around this time of year. Is because I can be a little bit of a negative Nancy in the summertime. And so it's a nice moment to like sit back and recenter and remind myself how beautiful this time of year is. Because like I really do love Florida. I grew up here and left because I was like, fuck this place. Like Florida stinks, you know? And missed it so terribly and then moved back. And so I have like a lot of love for where I live that can be lost when I feel anger in the heat. And so finding, and even if it's not the sunset, like if there's something, really I think the takeaway is like, what's the thing that you love the most about summertime? Find time to do that thing.
Yeah. I really like the sunset in Florida because I think being someone who doesn't live there, it feels like magic to me when the sun goes down and you can still stay outside. Because in Maine, it's like we have like the weeks where it's warm enough to really like stay outside and not be bundled up. After the sun goes down, you're like infested by mosquitoes. And so it's really not like the most enjoyable experience. So I feel like that if you need something to hold on to, just remember like there's something really magical about being able to be outside with the sun down and reading your book on your Kindle.
Yeah. This podcast is not sponsored by Florida.
Florida! Pow, 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 pow.
It's one hell of a drug.
Fuck me up, Florida. Other things that you can do on the day of are have a bonfire, go dancing, you like release some of that external extroverted energy. Even if you're an introvert, doing something slightly extroverted, whether it's just reading your book in public, can help you kind of align with that season. And then the other thing is, again, bringing balance to that outward with a little inward. So maybe doing a gratitude practice, some present moment shit, you know, coming into your body, kind of finding that balance, coming home to yourself. Once again, that's something we'll be doing in the ceremony, but you can do it on your own, wherever you are, just kind of naming a couple things you're grateful for. Even if you don't like the heat, it's like, what are you grateful for about the heat? Your heating bill is really, really low compared to where we are. You don't need 15 different jackets. You never have to shovel snow. Right? Like, there's a reason all of us Mainers go live in Florida when we're old.
And that was our take on the summer solstice. Please, if you do any of these things or if you have any other ideas, slide into our DMs. We would love to hear about it. I would love another thing to do to bring some gratitude into this summer season. And everyone, let's collectively manifest that my air conditioning gets fixed before the time this episode airs. I hope so.
We have a lot to record in that hot room. Okay, friends. One last thing I want to leave you all with. It's really important. It's that I'm working late. Because I'm a singer.
I saw it in your eyes.
Okay. From Bob the Tomato and Sabrina Carpenter's long lost twin.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison. If you want to learn more about us, you can find all our links in the show notes.
We'd love to know what you think of today's episode, so drop us a review or give us a shout out on social media. And don't forget to let us know your magical moment of the week. Okay, love you. Bye.